Hey, what the heck is the matter with you, huh? Why were you hanging out around one of our important clients?
Oh, Kelly, I have to say, I didn't expect to run into you.
I know, right? The last time I saw you was at high school graduation about 10 years ago. Who knew that I would bump into you again like that?
Yep, I was definitely surprised, to say the least. I really thought that I'd seen the last of you. But I guess the world is funny like that. I would have never thought to run into you at my husband's company, of all places.
Wait, what? Your husband's company? What are you talking about?
Well, I actually got married last year, and the man I got married to owns the company you saw me at. He told me that he had forgotten some important documents at home, so I was just dropping them off. I guess that his secretary was sick and called out, so he didn't have anyone else he could ask.
No. Oh, this can't be right. You have got to be lying. I mean, are you actually telling me that you're married to a company president? And not just any company president, but the president of one of our most valuable partners? How in the world did someone like you manage that?
First of all, I would like to remind you that I am also a representative of this company as well.
So then you really help out your husband with all of his business?
I mean, I do when he asks it of me, but normally I stay at home and take care of our family. So there aren't actually many days when I'm really going into the office. I actually just happened to be in there at the same time that you happened to show up.
I see. Well, you certainly have changed, haven't you? You aren't that little crybaby that wouldn't stop yelling after she found out I stole her boyfriend from her. Instead, you're an uppity snob who thinks they're better than me because of who their husband is.
Do you really think I've changed that much since back then? Of course, I do remember how much it hurt me when I found out what you had done. So, yes, perhaps I have grown up and matured from this just a little. And I guess I learned that there are a lot of fish in the sea, so it wasn't really worth crying over a guy who cheated on me anyways.
You really must think that the world revolves all around you now, huh? You really have changed. After all, I remember even after I did steal your boyfriend, you still had the guts to show your ugly face in school day after day after that. Oh man, I'm actually starting to crack up laughing just thinking about how it used to be back then.
That's fine, and if you think it's funny, you should laugh. After all, it's all behind us now. And I'm afraid that your petty bullying just isn't going to work on me anymore.
You really are such a bore now, do you know that? But you're right, the past is the past, and I need to be thinking about what to do next.
What to do next? What do you mean by that?
Well, I just wonder how you'd react if I stole your husband like I stole your boyfriend. That would just really crush you.
Are you serious?
Of course I am. I've made up my mind and I know what I have to do, so you can kiss your little marriage goodbye. I'm going to steal your husband and turn you back into that crying, scared little girl you were in high school. Then you'll be so crushed that you'll think twice about trying to get with a guy above your post.
I really can't believe that you're actually telling me all of this.
Oh, come on. Did you really think that you were going to get your happily ever after with this guy? That's just in movies. Besides, if anyone deserves that kind of life, it's me. You may have fallen in love with this guy by chance, but when it comes to stealing men away from their partners, no one is better than me. And then once I've made your husband mine, I'll be the wife of the company president.
Hey, Iris. I just wanted to thank you again for your help today. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't brought in those documents.
Well, I'm just glad that I was able to be of some help to you today. It had been so long since the last time I was in there that I had forgotten how big the building was. I always get so nervous walking through those big entrance doors.
Well, you know that we're actually working on an expansion project right now, right? By the way, who was it you were talking to in the office today? Did you run into someone that you knew or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. It was actually a girl I used to go to high school with. Apparently, she's working with a company that you partner with.
Oh, I see. Well, wow. What a coincidence. Sometimes the world is just a little too small, don't you think? It seemed like you guys had quite a bit to talk about. But anyways, I'd love to hear about your day. How about I take you out for dinner to say thanks for helping me out? I feel like it's been so long since you and I were able to go on a nice, quiet date by ourselves.
Oh, you don't have to do that, Zeke. And as for that woman, I'll be happy if I never see her again.
Wait, what? What's the matter with her?
Don't you remember? I had mentioned her to you before. She was the girl from high school who stole my boyfriend from me. I had really hoped that I would never have to deal with her again. Until today, that is.
You mean that was her? So what I thought was you having a friendly conversation was really...
That's right. I'd done my best to avoid her ever since we graduated. I wasn't expecting to run into her at all. But when I did, I guess that I just kind of froze up. Anyways, I ended up mentioning to her that you and I were married.
Oh, wow. I'm really sorry that happened then. And to think that you wouldn't have managed to avoid her if I hadn't asked for a favor of you.
You really don't need to blame yourself. After all, I'm not the person I was back then, and I'm so happy to be married to you. But I just think that you should be careful, okay? Because apparently Kelly decided to make you her next target.
Her next target? What does that mean? Why should I be careful?
Well, she threatened to try and steal you from me like she did with my boyfriend in school. I guess she wants to take my place as the wife of the company president.
What? Are you serious? What is this lady's deal?
That's what I'm saying. This is why I was trying to avoid her for this long. If she hasn't improved at all since high school, then I think it's fair to say that she's only gotten worse.
I mean, it's one thing to pull that kind of thing in high school, but we're all adults now. And she works for a company that we partner with? What is she thinking trying to get with a married man like me? That's just so stupid. I mean, does she not realize the effect that trying something like that could have on her career over there?
I don't really think that she is the kind of person to think before she speaks. But I also doubt that she would change her mind once she's announced that she's going to do something. That's why I'm telling you to be careful.
Right. Well, I guess I'll keep my eye out for her and try to stay away. Thank you so much for warning me about this. I really don't want to get suckered into any of this lady's scheme, so I'll be careful.
Just thought you should know that your husband is all mine now, so be a good girl and let me marry your company president husband. I already have the divorce paperwork drawn up, so let's not drag this out, okay?
What in the world are you talking about this time?
Oh, you'd find out soon enough, so I'm just telling you now. I have stolen your husband, and now he is obsessed with me. Of course, I'm not all that surprised that a man like him would see the value in being with a woman like me.
Literally, what in the world are you talking about, Kelly? I don't know what you're trying to tell me.
Remember how I told you I was going to steal your husband? Well, I've gone and done it, and now we're going to get married and I'll be the wife of the company president.
Are you sure that you've gone and done it? Because I don't think you have. In fact, I know that my husband would never ever betray me like that, so please be serious with me.
If you don't want to believe me, then that's your fault. But it's the truth. Your husband is head over heels in love with me. And as proof, he even invited me out for a lovely dinner date last night. So what do you think about that?
You're telling me that my husband invited you out on a date?
That's right. I had tried sending him so many messages and emails, and he never got back to me at all. So I decided it would be best to talk to him face to face. I went into the building to go to his office, and we ended up riding in the same elevator by chance. I took that chance to tell him who I was and confess my feelings for him.
You confessed your feelings to my husband?
That's right. And then he said that he liked my passion and invited me to a lovely restaurant with a view of the city. That means that he likes me back. And that's why I am so sorry to say, but the two of us are going to spend one hot night together. As for you, well, you can just enjoy a lonely night at home all by yourself.
I don't know what you're talking about, but my husband is not going to go on any date with you. And I certainly don't think he's said anything to express that he had feelings for you. So I'm still not quite sure why you think that you've successfully stolen him from me. If he even has invited you to dinner, I wouldn't read too much into that.
You really just don't understand anything at all, do you? Why would a man invite someone other than his wife out for dinner? Obviously, it's because he's much more attracted to that woman than he is to his own wife.
Are you serious?
Of course, the only reason a man would go out to eat with a woman who wasn't his wife is if he was trying to have an affair with her. Sure, he might understand that others might see doing something like that as taboo, but the fact that he invited me proves just how much he really likes me. And if he likes me enough to go on a public date with me, then you and him are as good as done. He doesn't like you anymore. We're going to get married, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so just like I stole your boyfriend in high school, now I've stolen your company president husband. So why don't you start crying already, you loser?
The only crying that's happening is out of laughter. My husband and I are both cracking up at these.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
I mean that we're laughing so hard that tears are streaming down our faces. It hurts to laugh. Oh man, we were actually laughing so hard I think I pulled something.
Now, hold on just one moment. What do you mean your husband is there with you?
Of course he is. The office is closed today and he didn't have anything in his schedule book. We just ordered pizza and have been staying at home basically all day.
Wait, but then, I don't get it. Why is he choosing to have dinner with you and not me? He told me that he was going to take me out to an amazing restaurant with a view of the city. It's only a little longer until the time when he and I were supposed to meet. He's not really going to ditch me, is he?
You really need to wake up and live in reality with the rest of us. I never once said that I was going out to dinner with you.
Wait a second, is this Mr. Masterson?
That's right. And I must say I was blown away by our interaction in the elevator. I mean, you basically cornered me and refused to let me off until I agreed to what you were saying. You forced me to ask you out to dinner, but I was never actually going to go through with that.
Wait a second, I don't get it. I thought you were asking me out because you liked me.
I only asked you out because I wanted to get off that damn elevator. I had a very important conference call that I was trying to make and I wasn't going to let you hold me up.
But, I mean, this can't be right.
It wasn't right. I don't even remember what time I said we'd meet or where.
That can't be right. You said that you were going to meet me in an hour.
Well, okay then. Wait an hour and see if I show up anywhere. Just don't be surprised if your boss shows up instead of me.
My boss? What are you talking about? Why would he be there?
I know that I said that I would think of a place with a good view of the city, but I certainly didn't say I'd make a reservation. Anyways, the place I had in mind was your boss's office. He has quite a good view of the city at night, right?
My boss's office? What are you talking about? Wait a second. My boss's car just pulled up. What the heck is going on here? I thought that you were obsessed with me, and that's why you wanted to go out on a date with me, right? I thought that you were trading Iris in for me.
Why in the world would I ever want to be with someone like you? You spam my email with all kinds of crazy messages and corner me in the elevator in my own company. You can bet that I showed your boss all those emails and the security footage of the elevator. He's the one who suggested speaking with you.
Did he really say that? Why would you do this to me?
I was willing to overlook the emails, to be honest with you, but I didn't think that you would actually try and confront me face to face. And I figured that if I was going to be dealing with someone willing to do that, I would need to bring in some extra support.
So that's why you went and told my boss about what I was doing? I thought that we were going to keep our love private at first. How could you go and get my boss involved in what's supposed to be between you and I?
You still just don't get it at all, do you? I'm the president of a company that is very important to the survival of your company. Did you really think anything positive was going to come out of harassing me like you did?
But, I mean, I didn't think I was harassing you.
If you really didn't think that was harassment, then you're only making me feel better about involving your boss. In fact, we were going to try and handle this during work hours, but I told him about the business with the elevator and fake date, and he agreed to talk to you now.
This can't be happening. Things weren't supposed to go this way. Please, you have to help me. Can't we just calm down and talk about this? Oh, surely you must see how much prettier I am than Iris, right? I am much more suited to be the wife of the company president.
If anyone needs to calm down and think things through, it's you. Besides, why would I want to be with you again after all this time?
Be with me again? What are you talking about?
You really don't remember? We used to date in high school. We had actually been dating about a year before you left me. In fact, I remember the day that you left me because it was actually the day that you told me you were with Iris's ex-boyfriend. Well, anyways, it turns out that Iris and I were in some after-school clubs together, and that experience helped push us closer.
Wait a second. You mean you're Zeke from high school?
Ding, ding, ding. I had actually completely forgotten about you until Iris brought you up. It took a while for it all to come back to me, but if you thought that someone like you could ever replace Iris, you're crazy. I mean, do you really think that adults act like that? We're not in school anymore. You need to realize that.
But what's going on? I had no idea that you owned your own company. You're so different than how you used to be.
Well, I don't know what to tell you except that people change over time. I'd like to think that most people improve, but you show me it's possible for people to only get worse as well. Anyways, I don't want to keep your boss waiting any longer than he needs to. And while you deal with whatever consequences he sought up for you, I'm going to enjoy a lovely, quiet night in with my wife. Have a nice life, Kelly.
After that, Zeke was informed by Iris's boss that after their discussion, he had decided to let her go. What happened next really shocked me. It turns out that Iris was actually carrying on an affair with her boss and that his wife was quite suspicious. The wife hired a PI to uncover more about her husband's affair and found out about him and Kelly. Then she sued the both of them for their affair. Meanwhile, more of Iris's affairs came to light and lawsuits from upset spouses began to pour in. In the end, Kelly was buried in legal debts that she couldn't afford and lacked the income to pay them off. She quickly started working some part-time jobs and moved into a tiny apartment where she can afford to make payments on her debts. Kelly thought that as an adult, she could act the way she did when she was nothing but a high school bully. She may have even gotten away with it for a little, but her luck was bound to run out. Ever since then, Kelly's been too busy to ever try and bother us again. But that works out just fine for Zeke and I. We couldn't be happier. Hey, Nick, are you there? I was just wondering if you were still going to be coming home early.
Oh, hey, Alice. I'm sorry, but it's still too early for me to tell.
Oh, I see. Well, I was just asking because your mom was calling earlier. And she was asking about if she could come over to have dinner with us.
Did she say that? Well, if you guys want to have dinner, you might have to eat without me.
So you mean you want me to have dinner alone with your mom?
What is that supposed to mean? Do you have some kind of problem with my mom? She's your family too now, you know? Don't tell me you have some kind of issue with her now.
Well, it's just, I thought that I told you about how your mom and I don't get along all that well. I mean, whenever she calls, all she talks to me about is having children and how I can take better care of the house. So, honestly, no, I don't really like having to spend one-on-one time with her.
Well, nobody can do anything about the fact that you can't have any kids, but at least you can do is try to make my mom feel better about the whole thing.
I have nothing but respect for your mom, Nick. I hope you know that. But I just can't understand why it is that she dislikes me this much.
I don't know. I think she's getting to the age where she's really wanting to have grandchildren. I mean, we've already been married for 3 years, you know? So even I'm starting to get just a little bit worried about when you're finally going to get pregnant.
I get that, and it's something I think about too. But I just wish that you would take my side a little more often.
And just why would I do that? What is there even to take sides on?
Well, I just mean that having a baby is something that has to be done between two people, right?
I know how babies are made. Thank you very much. What is your point? What are you trying to get at here? Huh?
I'm just saying that I can't make a baby on my own, so maybe the issue isn't all with me.
Oh, I see what this is about. You're saying that this is all my fault, aren't you? You're blaming me for why we don't have a baby.
That's not what I'm saying at all, but I just wish that you wouldn't act like we all knew it was my fault either.
I don't know what you want me to do about that. If you can't get pregnant, then I don't see who else's fault that would even be.
But Nick, I went to go and talk to the doctors and they told me that I didn't have anything wrong with me. So then you think that it all might be just the timing of having the baby? Because like I said, the doctors don't think that it's anything that I'm doing wrong.
Well, I know that I don't have anything wrong with me either, so there. How can you say that you're not doing anything wrong when it's been 3 years and you're still not pregnant? As far as I'm concerned, there's no other problem that can be preventing us from having kids besides you. Or maybe you and I just aren't as compatible as we thought. Maybe we just waited too long. I mean, we were in our 20s when we got married, and now we're already in our 30s. I think that I was better off trying to find someone younger to marry. Then at least I could be sure that her ovaries weren't all shivered up like yours.
How could you say something like that to me? I know plenty of women who have had kids at my age.
Well then, why don't you try for once, huh? Honestly, how about you worry about your own issues before you complain about my mom?
Okay, fine then, but I just want to let you know that all of this pressure your mom is putting on me is going to affect me. If I'm stressed out all the time, then the chances that I'll get pregnant get much, much lower. So if you really do want me to get pregnant, then you should just ask your mom to back off a little.
This is the first time I've ever heard of that. You probably just made that up so you can try and deflect from what I'm telling you.
You've really never heard of that? I don't just get stressed when your mom talks to me. That stress follows me throughout my day.
I don't get how you think you're qualified to talk about stress when you're just a housewife anyways. Don't you know how many women are out there working a full-time job while pregnant?
I know that, but I still don't think that you're being fair to me.
Why can't you just listen to what my mom has to say? You know that everything she has to say is all for your own sake, right? Besides, you'll only be with her for a few hours. It's not going to be that bad.
Nick, it's already 11 o'clock. When are you going to be coming home?
I'm sorry, Alice, but I'm actually not going to be coming home today at all. It's too late, and I don't think the trains are going to be running by the time I get off. So I'll just find somewhere to post up for the night, and I'll go to work just like that in the morning.
Nick, you've been coming home later and later lately. Is your work really that busy?
Of course it's busy. That's why I haven't been able to come home on time. But you don't have to worry about me. If I tell you that I'm going to be coming home late, you can just eat dinner and go to bed before me.
I guess I can do this, but I just was really hoping that you'd start coming back home at your regular time this month.
Well, I don't know what you want me to say. It's not up to me. It's up to my work, and they still want me around.
Well, did you know that your mom has been calling our house every single day? And all she ever has to talk to me about is when I'm finally going to get pregnant.
Well, I'm glad that she's keeping it in the back of her head, because I want kids too, you know? I just wish that we didn't have to deal with this awkward timing, you know? Men are actually really delicate when it comes to, well, making babies. We're not like women where we can just go whenever. The conditions have to be just right for us.
Do you really think that I'm just ready to go at the drop of a hat, Nick?
What are you talking about? Of course women are always ready to go. All they have to do is lie there. It's the men who do all the work.
Well, you have to actually do that work first if you want me to get pregnant.
Oh yeah, because you do so much to get me in the mood when it's time. In fact, ever since you quit your job, you've really been putting on weight. Did you know that? I don't know if you've noticed, but even the other women who are your age look much better than you do. Why do you think that I'd want to sleep with a woman like you?
Nick, you are no spring chicken yourself, but I'll also remind you that we're the same age.
Okay, well, even if we are the same age, you still look way worse for wear compared to your peers. It's just like all of your life has drained from you. You used to be so pretty, and now the spark just isn't there. And then, when I do get home, all you do is talk about getting pregnant.
I only bring it up so often because your mom is calling the house every day to talk to me about it. Maybe if you could talk to your mom and stand up for me a little more, then this wouldn't be happening.
You really think you know more about being a good wife and mother than my mom? How about you quit being so high in might and just take her advice?
What I don't get is why you both seem to think that I'm the only one with the problem when it comes to having a kid. Why are you both so quick to assume that the issue is with me? I'm not trying to blame you, but I'm saying that if we both wanted to have kids, then we should try and be more supportive of each other. Because if you're not going to stand up for me and just let your mom keep berating me like this, well, I don't want to live like this. In fact, your mom even told me that I should just divorce you. Can you believe that?
I told you that you should have just tried and listened to my mom when you had the chance, but now she just wants her grandchildren. Not to mention the fact that even if we had a girl, I know she would want us to keep going until we had a son. So that's why you have to get pregnant now. Who knows if we'll need to have more in the future to make my mom happy.
I don't think that we should be having kids for your mom's sake. It should be something we want.
Well, we're all waiting on you either way. So if you're not going to change anything, you don't have any right to complain. Also, I am sick and tired of hearing you complain about my mom, so don't talk to me about her or getting pregnant anymore. Got it?
Then what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to deal with all of this?
How about you just figured that out on your own, huh? Anyways, I've got work to do, so just leave me alone.
Nick, I really need you to come home early today. You and I have something to talk about.
Whatever it is, you should be able to talk to me about it through text. I still don't know when I'll be able to leave.
But Look, I just really want to talk about this with you face to face.
And I'm telling you that we're going to text each other or we're not going to talk at all. Got it?
Okay, fine then. If that's the way you want it, I know that you're cheating on me.
Excuse me? What are you talking about, Alice?
I mean that I saw you walking arm in arm with that woman on the sidewalk. You both looked so happy.
You saw me walking with some lady on the street, so that's why you think I'm cheating on you? Do you even know who she was?
But her arms were wrapped around yours, and then you both went into an apartment.
Hold on a sec. Are you telling me that you've been stalking me? Man, you're a real creep. Do you know that?
Well, I had never seen this woman before, and I have no idea why else you'd be letting her cling on to you like that.
Man, you really are a little weird sometimes. But do you even have any proof of what you're saying at all? Do you have any witnesses who can back up any of this? Any photos or videos or anything like that?
No, I don't have anything like that at all.
Oh, I see. So you just see me walking around with another woman and you assumed I was cheating. Well, if that's all, then I think we're done here.
That's not all that's going on here, Nick. I mean, you've been making some really weird purchases for the past few months. I saw in your credit card statements that you were going to a women's clothing shop and other brand name stores. Not only that, but you've been telling me all about how busy you are, and yet you managed to go out of state for a meal on a weekend you said you were in the office.
And so what? It's not like I wasn't working then. Besides, I have a lot of reasons for the things that I do, and I don't need to explain them all to you. You've got some nerve trying to piece together my actions through my spending. I really don't know what I'm going to do with you. Maybe my mom was right. Maybe I should leave a barren woman like you.
I am not barren. I told you the doctor said that I'd be able to have kids.
And yet we've been married for 3 years now and still nothing. So if you're not barren, then what are you? And don't you even try to suggest that this is all my fault. We both know that's not the truth.
But how can you be so sure about that? I mean, have you even gone to get examined?
No, I haven't, and there's no need for that anyway. But whatever. Again, it's not my job to explain my life to you. Why don't you pack up your bags and go back to your parents? I'm going to find a younger woman who can actually have kids.
You are just the worst. Do you know that?
Well, trust me, the feeling is more than mutual. And do think that you went to a good school, have a nice job. You were so close to being the perfect bride. If only you could have kids. But I guess that's just a dream for you now. I just hope you never manage to trick another man into marrying you again.
So you're saying you only wanted to marry me because of the information you could find on my resume?
No, it wasn't just that. But all of that showed that you came from a good family with money and brains. Not to mention you used to be so pretty. But then you quit your job, put on a few pounds, and now you're just washed up. It was wrong for you to become a housewife.
You do remember that the only reason I quit in the first place was because your mom didn't think a woman should be working after getting married, right?
Well, she thought that you weren't getting pregnant because you were still working. But now the whole thing was pointless anyways. Just a waste of time that could have been spent on making us money. I should never have married a barren old hag like you.
You and your mom are both just awful. Do you know that? I really don't know what I'm going to do with you both.
That's how I feel about you. But I seriously doubt that anyone is ever going to want to marry you once they find out we were divorced for you being infertile. So let's just sign the divorce papers and get this over with. I never ever want to see your face again. Hey Alice, are you there? Heard you got married, but man, your choice of men must have been great. I mean, just look at him. You can tell that there's probably wasn't a single other woman that would have ever wanted to be with a guy like that.
Nick, what in the world do you think you're doing messaging me like this? Why do you think you have any right at all to comment on my husband? You don't know anything about him.
Well, I tried to talk to you, but you completely ignored me. I thought you would have at least said hi to me. I mean, who would have guessed that we would meet again the way we did, right? It was totally random.
And even so, why in the world do you think that I'd want to say a word to you?
I guess your attitude really has only gotten worse as you've gotten older, huh? I really am glad that we got a divorce when we did. That way I didn't have to waste another day of my life with you. You should know that my wife is pregnant with our second kid now. And this time it's going to be a boy, so we couldn't be happier right now.
Well, good for you. I also gave birth to a son.
Don't lie to me. I already know that you can't have children, unless it's a stepchild, but I wouldn't say that you birthed him.
Well, that's because I'm not talking about a stepchild. I'm talking about a child that I had with my husband.
So you could have children after all, huh? Well, I guess maybe it was just that we weren't compatible.
I don't think so. I think you were the one that couldn't have any kids, Nick.
What are you talking about? I literally just told you that I had a kid with a second child on the way. How could I be infertile?
Are you really sure that those kids are yours?
Jess, what are you getting at, huh?
I mean that ever since we got divorced, I've gone to several more clinics to get second opinions, and no doctor has found any issues with me. In fact, all the doctors have suggested that any issues that might have existed between you and I in terms of having kids were probably your fault.
Well, it sounds to me like you've been going to see a bunch of cranks who don't know what they're talking about.
Tell me, how many doctors have you gone to since we parted ways? In fact, you should know that I actually looked into what you were up to all this time, Nick. You said that you weren't cheating on me, but that was a lie, wasn't it? In fact, the woman you were seeing was pregnant before we even got divorced, wasn't she? I guess that explains why you were so sure that none of this was your fault, wasn't it?
Exactly. I knew from the very start that I wasn't the problem. I knew the problem was always you.
And you're sure that this Marie girl's kids are really yours?
So you know her name too, huh? Well, yes. I know for a fact they're my kids.
Well, you should know that I did even more looking into Marie, and you aren't the only person she's seeing. I'm sure that you had no idea about any of this, but you might want to look more into her.
What? No, that can't be right. You're lying to me.
I'm not lying at all. Did you think that I just guessed her name? No, I've done my homework.
But no. You don't know who she is at all. You're just passing around rumors.
Okay, well, then I assume you must know all about the terrible schools that she attended as well, right?
That can't be right. She told me that she went to one of the top universities in the country.
I see. Well, have you ever seen any diploma from there? Or have you ever been able to confirm if that's true? Because when I looked into her, all I found was a diploma from a very average state school. But that's okay, school isn't everything, and at least you seem happy with this woman.
But was she really lying to me? Are you being serious about this? This is a huge problem if you're telling the truth. What have I been working so hard for if she's out sleeping around on me?
I would assume it's because you love your family and want to provide for them, right?
There's no point in providing for kids that aren't even mine. I would never have married her if I knew that was the case.
Well, I don't see why you're talking to me about this. I mean, you and I aren't even married anymore. It sounds to me like you've got a lot of work that needs to be done and some long and hard conversations that need to be had.
But, I mean, you told me about all of this. I wouldn't have known about all of this if it weren't for you. Please, you have to help me.
I don't have to do anything, thank you very much. In fact, since I know that you were cheating on me while we were married, the only thing that you have coming to you is a lawsuit.
You mean, after all this, you're going to sue me? Come on.
After that, I heard through the grapevine that Nick confronted Marie about what I had told him. He made her agree to a DNA test for her children, and in the end, he found out that he indeed was not the father of his first child or the one he was expecting. He went to the doctor, who gave him an examination and ran some tests, only to find that he was not, in fact, able to have children. The truth was that Nick has always suspected his first child might not have been his, but he never wanted to ask Marie without reason to. As Nick dealt with the fallout of recent revelations, I began my lawsuit for his affair. I won easily, and Nick and Marie were forced to take out loans to pay me. Because of that, they felt that they shouldn't divorce to pay back things sooner. And yet I hear from neighbors that shouting can be heard coming from their apartment almost every night now. Either way, I'm just glad that it's not my problem anymore. As for me, I went to go and live with my parents for a bit after the divorce. Then I used the lawsuit money to move into a nice condo. I've been very much enjoying the newfound freedom.